In the world of the Transformers, Optimus Prime calls upon some of the bravest and heroic Autobots to save the universe from the evil Decepticons. This includes the tough and determined Ironhide.
Then let's make the Decepticons Decepticons!
The small but courageous Bumblebee.
I got him into this mess. I'll get him out.
And the egotistical Sunstreaker.
I'll blast a few big D's for you, and you'll see what a difference a pro makes.
However, while not as ruthless as his brother Sunstreaker, the Autobots can depend on the bravery of Sideswipe.
When we're done with them, they're gonna wish they'd never been assembled.
I'd like to thank my patrons and my channel members for your continued support. Consider becoming one, or purchase some merch on my Spring store today. As mentioned in my Sunstreaker retrospective, Hasbro imported the two Diaclone Countach LP 500S figures to be part of their Transformers toy line. The original intention was to release the super tuning vehicle in its original red color scheme as Sideswipe, with a newer version in yellow as Sunstreaker. However, the decision was made to switch the two figures' colors, resulting in their names and bios being swapped as well. As such, the new Countach LP 500S figure was released in red as part of the Transformers toy line in 1984 as the Autobot Sideswipe. In his bio as written by Bob Budiansky, Sideswipe isn't as cold-blooded as his brother Sunstreaker, but his skills in combat are just as good as he relishes a fight to the finish. With his pile-driver arms, flare gun, and a rocket backpack that gives him limited flight, Sideswipe uses underhanded tactics and rash actions that sometimes lead to getting injured himself, but he takes them all in stride. First introduced in the Marvel Comics, Sideswipe was among the Autobots aboard the Ark when it crash-landed on Earth 4 million years ago. Reawakening in the then-present day of 1984, Sideswipe admitted that he may be rash rushing headlong at Decepticon fortifications while using his arms as pile drivers, but none have stopped him yet. Rolling into battle alongside his brother Sunstreaker, Sideswipe was overeager to show off his abilities, like using his jetpack to get close enough to blind Thundercracker with his flare gun. Unfortunately for Sideswipe, after his initial display of capabilities, he was relegated to background character status as he was taken out of action by Shockwave using a mind-controlled copy of Optimus Prime's head. Though he spent much of his time on Ratchet's repair table, Sideswipe did make a few appearances in some of the early UK exclusive stories before getting badly wounded by the out-of-control Dinobots. Although he was barely in the Marvel Comics, Sideswipe was regularly seen in the first 2 seasons of the G1 cartoon. Voiced by Michael Bell, Sideswipe was eager to jump headfirst into battle.
Wait, I'm finally gonna get in a fight!
Unfortunately, this sometimes meant he took on a little bit more than he can handle.
That's no way to travel, little fella.
Yeah, next time I'll call a cab.
Rolling alongside his brother Sunstreaker, Sideswipe often used his quick wit to make light of poor situations.
Thanks for your help, brothers.
What about my paint? Don't worry, nobody'll notice. Just make left turns.
Since his bio mentioned his rocket pack, Sideswipe could easily fly into battle.
Say uncle or I'll shove your nose in your afterburner. Gee, I didn't know Decepticons had uncles.
Such as when he and Sunstreaker practiced their jet judo on the Seekers, and when Optimus Prime borrowed it to stop the Decepticons. Sideswipe also often used his piston pile drivers whenever the situation called for it.
About time you guys showed up.
Thanks to his Lamborghini Countach alt mode, Sideswipe disguised himself as Breakdown in the episode Masquerade, where the Stunticon disguised Autobots even went as far as merging into a phony Menasor to stop a Decepticon plot.
No need for the disguises anymore.
Sideswipe was part of many battles with the Decepticons, even once saving the Earth from certain doom when the Combaticons had tampered with the space bridge. Sideswipe was originally supposed to make an appearance in Transformers the movie. After the Dinobots clashed with Devastator, Ultra Magnus would have transported Sideswipe, Trax, and Red Alert into battle to take on the Decepticon Combiner before Prime arrived to face off against Megatron. Unfortunately, this scene never made it into the finished film, though fans have tried otherwise. While he was absent from Season 3, Sideswipe did make a small appearance battling the Decepticons alongside Ultra Magnus in the Japanese exclusive series, The Headmasters. Although G1 had come to an end in 1990 in the US, a brand new Sideswipe figure was released in 1991 exclusively in European and Australian markets. This figure was a non-transforming Action Master that came packaged with his transforming battle drone, Vanguard. Sideswipe's classic G1 toy was also re-released in those same markets in new Classics packaging. As part of the Generation 2 toy line in 1993, Sideswipe once again returned to toy shelves as his G1 toy colors were reversed. Jumping into battle with these new colors and extra ammunition served Sideswipe well in the G2 comics, where he blasted Decepticons with maximum force as part of a hard-hitting raiding team known as the Firestormers. Towards the end of the G2 toy line in 1995, a smaller GoBots figure of Sideswipe was released with a new blue and yellow color scheme, transforming into a Lamborghini Diablo. His original G1 toy was reissued once again in the early 2000s. In addition to Red Alert, eHobby took this opportunity to release several exclusive redecos of Sideswipe in his original Diaclone colors as new Transformers characters. This included Deep Cover, an Autobot cop who staunchly defends the innocent people of Earth using his ability to create illusions to remain undercover. With his older brother, the extremely tough but dedicated Clampdown, the two teamed up with human police forces to take down crime on Earth. Finally, Tiger Track was an Autobot sentry who tirelessly patrolled Autobot installations. This might have explained who was helping Kup with a roadblock in Transformers the movie, since Sunstreaker came to Earth piloting Optimus Prime's shuttle during the Battle of Autobot City. Like many Transformers characters in the early 2000s, Hasbro began using the name Sideswipe on variously different incarnations in order to keep their name trademark. The first of which was in 2001's Robots in Disguise that saw a green Spy Changer Sideswipe that transformed into a Chimera. In Transformers Armada, Sideswipe's G1 robot design was used to create an Autobot that joined up with the Decepticons. However, this character was given the name Wheeljack. The details for that I've covered previously. Another blue Autobot was added to the Armada toy line that transformed into a blue sedan. This figure came packaged with a motorcycle minicon that could deploy from the Autobot's main vehicle mode, creating a pseudo-pursuit mode. Toy designer Aaron Archer has stated that the Autobot was intended to be named Nightbeat, with Sideswipe being the minicon partner. For whatever reason, these names were swapped for the final product. Voiced by Sam Vincent, Sideswipe was brought into the anime as a brash young Autobot rookie who was overeager to prove himself.
Well, how do you like that? There you be.
Oh, brother.
After being rescued back on Cybertron by the Autobot sniper, Blur, Sideswipe came to Earth, joining Optimus Prime's team in hopes of meeting up with his idol. However, Blur had no time for the young rookie.
Huh?
I have work to do, and you're interfering with me.
I'm very sorry, sir. I did not mean to interfere.
So Optimus Prime assigned Hotshot the task of taking Sideswipe under his wing. After Sideswipe was rescued from facing a similar fate as Wheeljack, the young rookie turned his idolization towards Hotshot.
You heard me, Hotshot. You're like family to me now. I think somebody needs a hug!
Despite getting himself into trouble frequently, Sideswipe did prove his worth in data analysis in addition to piloting the Autobot spacecraft back to Cybertron. Designs for Sideswipe were made during the development for the sequel to the first live-action Transformers film, Revenge of the Fallen. His finalized design took a more agile-looking approach, giving him blades on his arms and tires for feet as he transformed into a concept Corvette Stingray that led fans to initially believe that he was the Autobot Trax. Appearing in the film and voiced by Andre Sagliuzzo, Sideswipe rolled into battle, taking out the Decepticons sideways, and later was in the final battle in Egypt. Numerous toys of Sideswipe were released, including one in his traditional red, and he appeared throughout the movie's tie-in media. Sideswipe would return in Dark of the Moon, now voiced by James Remar, and adjusting his vehicle mode into a convertible with built-in weapons to face off against further human and Decepticon threats.
Whoa, little Mexican standoff we got here.
Weapons down.
And we'll let you escape with your dignity.
Although he survived the final battle in Chicago, Sideswipe was unfortunately killed by Cemetery Wind prior to the events of Age of Extinction. In BotCon 2008, an exclusive redeco of Armada Wheeljack was released as a shattered glass Sideswipe. Told in the convention-exclusive comics, Sideswipe abandoned the evil Autobots after Optimus Prime murdered Drench, an act Sideswipe felt went way too far as he joined the heroic Decepticons. As part of the Transformers animated universe, a redeco of animated Rodimus was released as a BotCon exclusive Sideswipe figure in 2011, sporting his Generation 2 colors. In the tie-in comic story, The Stunticon Job, Sideswipe was a grizzled Autobot veteran that was part of the Cybertron Police Defense Command. With his inexperienced rookie partner, Cheetor, the duo managed to stop Toxitron and the Stunticons from an elaborate scheme to free Megatron from Trypticon prison. This, of course, led to the Stunticons' capture. Despite these newer versions of Sideswipe, the G1 character was certainly not forgotten about, as he's received several toys over the years, including his Universe figure that shared a mold with Sunstreaker. After receiving the Masterpiece treatment in 2012, this figure was also redecoed into his G2 colors in addition to Clampdown and Tiger Trap. However, one of Sideswipe's most notable traits was his relationship with his brother, Sunstreaker, and further adventures of the two were further explored in the comics published in the 21st century. In the Dreamwave Comics, Sideswipe charged into battle with Sunstreaker as they backed up Optimus Prime against the Decepticons. When the Insecticons plagued the town of Sandestro, Sideswipe did his best to keep his brother in line as the two accompanied Jazz, Marissa Fairborn, and the EDC to face off against the insect invasion. Both Sideswipe and Sunstreaker even inspired the young Autobot Bumper, who in turn helped save the day. In the IDW Comics, Sideswipe's obsession with stepping out of his brother's shadow compelled him to come to Earth to find out what happened to Sunstreaker. However, when Nova Prime attacked the Earth, Sideswipe realized he only had to prove to himself that he could overcome any of his limitations. After reuniting with Sunstreaker, Sideswipe tried his best to reconcile with his brother's experience becoming a headmaster, leading to Sunstreaker's sacrifice to save his fellow Autobots. Gaining the resolve to fight on and save the Earth from the Decepticons, Sideswipe took out his revenge on Bombshell for messing with Sunstreaker's mind and ended the torture of his brother's former partner, Hunter. When the war was over, Sideswipe became a peacekeeping agent on Cybertron, but peace was a difficult task for a warrior. As such, he eagerly accompanied Optimus Prime to Earth to stop the threat of Galvatron. His lust for battle helped him form a close relationship with RC, as the two both understood one another. Unfortunately, Sideswipe was fatally wounded during an attack on the Autobot spacecraft. Visiting his body regularly out of grief, RC did everything she could to save him. After realizing her efforts were in vain, she and Sunstreaker chose to pull the plug on Sideswipe with a peaceful send-off, dreaming of a united Cybertron as his spark expired. After a new generation of Cybertronians came online, RC named one of the new bots Sideswipe. Taking inspiration from his G1 counterpart, Sideswipe was introduced into the Align continuity in the War and Fall of Cybertron video games. Voiced by Travis Willingham, Sideswipe took absolute pleasure blasting and slicing Decepticons no matter the odds.
So it is bad.
It's purely a matter of perspective. Well, I'm loving this. Let's crack some heads.
His talents as a pilot helped Jazz and Cliffjumper begin their journey to rescue Grimlock, and Sideswipe earned his spot as a pilot of the Ark in the tie-in novels. Unfortunately, this version of Sideswipe was absent from the Transformers Prime cartoon. However, a newer version of the character appeared in Prime's sequel series, Robots in Disguise, in 2015. Originally meant to be named Fastlane after the 1987 Autobot, Sideswipe was a rebellious young loner who inadvertently got brought to Earth when he joined Bumblebee's team to capture the Decepticons of the prison ship Alchemor. Voiced by Darren Criss, Sideswipe's disdain for authority frequently got him into arguments with the ever-serious Strongarm.
You're not the boss of me.
Someone has to be.
And would often lead to Sideswipe finding himself in troublesome situations. However, Sideswipe did eventually learn to work better with his team, and he also made a cameo appearance in Transformers Rescue Bots, where the Autobot Rescue Squad helped him hunt down the Minicon Bounce. Sideswipe's popularity in the Transformers franchise has earned him several spots in video games, including the G1-themed action game Transformers Devastation, where Michael Bell had finally reprised his role.
Megatron!
About time.
Set in the days before the Transformers came to Earth, the War for Cybertron Trilogy's Siege toy line in 2019 saw a new G1-styled Sideswipe figure that transformed into a Cybertronian car. This of course earned him a spot in IDW's rebooted continuity as part of Cybertron's security forces. Not willing to give up a fight, Sideswipe rescued and inspired the young rookie Bumper as they faced off against the rising threat of the Decepticons. Sideswipe also appeared in the War for Cybertron Trilogy's animated series on Netflix. Voiced by Mark Whitten, Sideswipe spoke freely about the potential trap posed by Ultra Magnus being the Decepticons' prisoner.
Did you crack your crankcase? You want us to hunt down an ancient artifact based on information sent from Magnus, who is currently under Decepticon control.
While his objections were justified, Sideswipe unfortunately was a little more than a background character on Optimus Prime's team in their quest to retrieve the Allspark on Earth, despite his brother's absence.
Sunstreaker.
In addition, his animation model was used frequently to pad out the many generic Autobots on Cybertron throughout the series. Sideswipe's Siege figure was, much like his G1 figure, redecoed into not only his G2 colors, but other Transformers characters such as Red Alert, Tigertrack, and Deep Cover. The mold was also retooled in a crossover with the Back to the Future films, transforming a DeLorean into a time-traveling Autobot, Gigawatt.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine? What, a DeLorean?
Most recently, Sideswipe's Siege figure was once again retooled into his classic G1 Lamborghini Countach alternate mode. As part of the War for Cybertron Trilogy's Kingdom subline, The Battle Across Time in 2021, Sideswipe came packaged with the Beast Wars' second Maximal, Skywarp. This figure will also yet see another redeco as Clampdown joins the Velocitron Speedia 500 as a Walmart exclusive. With his heroic bravado, slight bending of the rules while keeping his brother in line,
You and your shortcuts. I still think this is the best way to go. You'll see.
Sideswipe has certainly inspired many of his fellow Autobots. While he may be rash, he has certainly become a mainstay in the Transformers franchise. Hopefully Sideswipe, along with Sunstreaker, can be seen together once more in the years to come.
No problem, Bo. Just follow my lead.
But what do you think? What is your favorite version of Sideswipe, and should he and Sunstreaker reunite in action again? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you like this video, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe. I have many more Transformers videos like this coming soon, so stay tuned. And as always, until next time, till all are one.
Boy, talk about lousy shots! Spoke too soon.